Hello everyone, this is Selkek, also known as Paulalia, and welcome to the SCAP space program, or did I name it Space Industries? Space Agency, that's what I called it, the Space Agency. We have 78,000 funds at the moment. We have 19.7 science, and so if we take a look, we have no active contracts at the moment, so we need to pick up some active contracts. Let's see what we got here. We kind of set an altitude record, so it doesn't look like we have another altitude record available contract. We have here test small gear bay in flight over Kerbal. To perform the test, use the run test option in the parts context menu when all test conditions are met. Okay, there's a test the parachute, but we've already tested the parachute, I think, good enough. We're gonna get 27 science for testing the small gear bay, so I'm gonna go ahead and accept that one. That appears to be a pretty good one. And that one gives us 8. That one gives us 17. That one gives us 17. Test radio-mounted liquid engine. Okay. Test hydraulic detachment manifold landed at Kerbal. So this, of course, you know, we can just test this once and we get that science. That is super easy. Alright, this one requires us to get to orbit. This one requires us to get to orbit as well. That is a pretty low orbit though. 75 to 78, 78 to 96. Let's pick them up. We can go for them. So we're gonna go for orbit Kerbal, test the Rockomax, and test decoupler while orbiting Kerbal. There we go. We've taken a lot of contracts. Now we're at 110,000 funds. We've got 5 active contracts. One of them is simply to have a periapsis higher than 70,000. So that's fine. If this one is landed, so that one will be really easy. And this gear bay should be pretty easy. Once we get up to 15,300 meters, we can just right click on it and hit test. So we need to design an orbital craft. Last time we went for the 56,000 meter ship. And this ended up being more than enough to get us way up into space and etc. So we're going to kind of go something similar, and we have to remember which parts we have to activate and which. I'm gonna call this the orbiter. Let's call this the let's call this the SCAP orbiter. And this is the Mark 1, obviously, because we might fail to make orbit. So what do we want to do here? Let's take a look at our contract. So we need to test hydraulic detachment manifold. So we need to test this, landed on Kerbal. We also have to test this Rockomax decoupler, which is ginormous, while we're flying. So I might put that like on the top of the rocket and put this like on the side of the rocket, perhaps. Achieve orbit. Test the Rockomax 48-7S. Oh, it's a teeny tiny rocket. Okay, so we can put that somewhere. And we have to test that while we're in orbit. And we have to detach that decoupler while we're in orbit. So all in all, pretty easy contracts, I feel. Whether or not we can get them all together properly is another story. So what I'm going to do is put this engine on my main stack. And I'm not going to deploy my main stack until we are up in space. because we had more than enough fuel to make it to orbit last time, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And the reason I have all this fuel is just because we might actually need to do burning with this teeny tiny engine at some point. Or you might need to transfer fuel about. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to slap on 4 of these, like so. And these are going to contain my gimbaling engines, like so. And I've unlocked struts, so I can add a strut from the back to the thing. That is pretty dang awkwardly positioned. Trying to get those as straight as I can. There we go. So we got the strut. That's good. I could go for like a crazy like tri-stack design with the engines somewhere, but no, this will work. This will work. Okay, and so I'm going to have parachutes on top of all of these. I'm going to have 2 radial mounted parachutes there, and I'm also going to have radial mounted parachutes here, because we want this thing to survive. So this is the that's the test engine. So the test engine, we will be testing it in orbit. Okay. Let me put. I don't have a structural big to little part for it, so I will simply just do this. It doesn't even look remotely possible, but it's okay. And I will be testing this in lower orbit than this and than the little engine. So my plan is to get myself up into orbit. And what am I testing on the ground? The hydraulic detachment manifold. Okay. So I'm going to just put 1 of these. No, I'll put 2. No, we'll just put 1. Right like that. And I will put no, that's clipping funny. I will put a nose cone won't attach. Battery we don't want to waste. Oh, we need to test this this landing gear. Put that on the back side there. Oh, we should probably bring a science junior and 2 goo pods. Why not? For when we get into space. I need something that I can just throw off the side here. Oh, right. Because I'm going to be testing this while landed, so it really doesn't matter if it comes up to space with me. It's just that whatever I drop, I'm not getting the money back from. I think that counts as attached, and I think that will drop off. So we can certainly test that. Alright, we get the landing gear. The only issue I have now is that I need to attach my solid rocket boosters, which means this part might not really go flinging away as I want it to. So let me come in here. You know what? We can do this. What is this part? No. Okay. So we're testing hydraulic detachment manifold while landed. So this one goes first. and then we'll test the gear bay as we go up, and then we'll worry about getting to orbit, and then we can worry about the other things then. Okay, so this is a really crazy looking orbiter because we're doing so many part tests and whatnot. I'm gonna call this good. Oh, I need my launch stability enhancers, of course, to fire off when my rocket wants to take off. I don't need any action groups. I will be sending up into space Milzer Kerman. Milzer Kerman, I believe, was our first Kerbal into space, if I'm remembering correctly. So let's go ahead and we'll just get straight to it. I mean, I've wasted enough time in this video laying out a rocket, so we'll just go straight for it. Let me check our map view here. Yep, Milzer Kerman was our first Kerbal in space. There's our flag, remembering that day. Alright. So, first things first. We got our contracts open. The hydraulic detachment manifold has been detached. Alright, so it has gotten all bungled up there in the insides of our thing. Hopefully it'll shake loose as we launch, but that's okay. Anyway, we've completed that contract and we've gotten 27 science. So already we're off to a good start. So we need to now test the small gear bay once we get to 15,000 meters. So let's go ahead. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. Alright, engage SAS. We're listing quite a bit. That's okay. I got it back under control though. We've got gimbaling engines, so that is good. We are taking our solid rocket boosters with us just for some minor money back. I believe we can make it. So I'm going to increase the thrust on our engines. So we just need to reach 15,000 feet, and we need to right click on our small gear bay and do test. Nope, that's the... I'm probably going to have issues clicking on it once I get to it. Alright, increase thrust capacity, so we accelerate. We're at 7,000, we're nearly halfway there. Alright, we've passed the halfway mark to our gear bay. Alright, so if I can click on it from here, run test. Okay. So we just need to hit our altitude mark, and we will be good to go on that test. Uh-oh, I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing on the nav ball. Okay, this is like a very much an active piloting thing. We are lopsided apparently with all of our tests strapped on board. But I have faith that we will be able to accomplish a great many things. Why does it say we're not flying? Our speed is too high. And it says we're not flying, and I've now gone too high. Okay, so we failed that contract. Whatever, full burn. We are actually running out of fuel. Yeah, this is going to be a failed contract. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Cut the engines. And we're going to go ahead and decouple that, get rid of that. I mean, we might be able to bring it, but it's pretty much in the way of parachuting in. Can we run our materials bay? Do we get any science from this? Some. Alright, we'll keep it. Why not? Observe mystery goo. Our part has come out. Alright, that's good. We'll observe mystery goo. Are we going to get any points of science? Yep, alright. This thing that we brought all the way with us is finally floated free. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to point us and burn away from it. Gonna activate our teeny tiny engine. Alright, so we failed to reach orbit with this design. It was probably a mistake to attempt so many tests on an unstable rocket design, but we will manage it somehow. Managed to get one done out of the 4. That's really not all that great, but we need to now focus on coming back alive Actually, we are pretty high up, altitude-wise. But we are not in orbit, sadly. And I do not think we would make it to orbit if we attempted to. So I'm just going to do some time accelerate and let us fall back into the atmosphere. We'll do some physical time warp as well. And I'm going to try to aim us towards the space center once more. I'm just gonna burn sideways. That teeny tiny engine was running. I don't think that's gonna make it. We're gonna splash down in the water though, so that'll be good. Our parachute's deployed. We're burning up in the thick parts of the atmosphere. We're coming in for a splashdown. We've almost made it to the runway island. So I wonder if that flying... Oh, see, now we're flying. Maybe I should have been paying attention to it and I could have gotten it when we were still up in the air. I wonder why when we were going upwards though it didn't count as flying. Weird. We're probably gonna have to attempt those again. I think the contracts are good for like a year, so we have like plenty of time to work on them. But we'll see what happens. Alright, our parachutes should be deploying here soon. Fire up our littlest engine to help slow us down. We are slowing down just a teeny tiny bit though. It is helping. Oh, look at that. And all of our parts survive, so we can recover the vessel and get a lot of our money back. So we got 7 science on the thing. We recovered a bunch of our funds. We're still about 5,000 funds short. And we got a little bit of reputation just from running the mission. Okay, so we still need to test the small gear bay in flight over Kerbal. I wonder if that means if we have to cut thrusters while we're up there. But I think right now I'm going to just focus on getting to orbit and testing that Rockomax engine. Let me take a look. Small gear bay. Our deadline is in 425 days on that one. 309 days, 309 days, no deadline. Okay, so we can test the decoupler and the small gear bay at a later date. We need to, let's get rid of this. Let's make this the Orbiter 2. Alright, we did that one. And we can get rid of this one. Alright, so this design did not work. We're going to need to rethink our strategy on how we will handle this mission of importance. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slap on one more parachute. Just to make sure that we have enough parachutes to survive a landing. Let's see here. I'm thinking we might need to radial decoupler and use our big fuel boosters. So let me